Hello and welcome to my CES 2018 coverage. Now unfortunately I can't be at CES, but I thought it would be a great idea to kind of do a roundup every day of all of the happenings in CES, because it's all tedious to go on your phone and look through all the stories. Now you have one easily digestible video to get all the information from. Now let's get all this introduction out the way and get straight into the news. Now the most exciting thing to come out of CES in the last couple of hours has been the announcement of the Intel AMD coalition. Now I know this has been quite well covered lately, and to be honest, even in this week in the tech news I've spoken about it, but it seems as though the 88009G, I'm not sure how to refer to it, is real, and it's amazing. They're going to be bringing it out in an Intel NUC, which is about this size, and it's going to be super powerful. Now, it's actually an i7 4-core 8-thread CPU that's been matched with a VEGA chip, and I was actually right in guessing, well, just kind of randomly guessing, but in guessing that there was going to be HBM memory on it, and it's tiny and very powerful. Apparently it has about the same power as a Max-Q GTX 1080, this is the VEGA card, so it's going to be amazing for laptops and great for tiny PCs. Now, moving on to Nvidia, that announced some insane tech. So the first thing that they announced was a 65-inch 4K 120Hz TV with G-Sync. And HDR, actually. So they decided that why don't gamers have great TVs available for them, so let's make one. I think the one issue with this plan is that it's going to be super expensive. And they've actually announced this kind of concept of this TV, and Asus has given an actual prototype of one. So it's a Republic of Gamers branded 65-inch television. And now that I'm speaking about Asus, they've actually also announced a kind of seamless monitor integrator, which seems pretty cool to me. So what it is if you have three monitors next to each other, you always have that annoying bit of bezel in the middle, right? So they have like a flexible screen thing that you kind of plug into the gaps, and it makes the monitors blend together. I don't know if this is the greatest idea. I think just having a kind of ultra-wide kind of solves that issue, doesn't it? But if you're really into your three monitors, this might be a way to kind of not have to buy an ultra-wide. And for those of you that are excited about VR, HTC has announced a new, better version of the HTC Vive called the HTC Vive Pro. On a side note, manufacturers really need to put more effort into their naming schemes of better versions of products. Oh, we made a better version of the Vive, let's call it the Pro. Oh, we made a better version of the PlayStation, let's call it the PlayStation 4 Pro. I mean, you spend all this money on research on your products and you can't come up with better names for them? How about the Vive Super Majestic Ferrari Red Flame Beauty? I mean, that sounds a little bit more catchy than the Pro. Now, the HTC Vive Pro is going to have a 78% increase in resolution, and yes, that's quite a big jump. It's going to move from 2160 by 1200 to 2880 by 1600, which I don't know is going to make all of the virtual reality more reality? I'm not sure. And then Westinghouse, which is, as far as I know, an electricity company that once electrocuted an elephant, but I'm not sure. Anyway, they have announced a really cheap 4K TV. Now it's going to be a 43-inch TV that they're going to be selling for $350. So they're trying to bring 4K and elephant electrocution to the masses. Wow, there's a lot of news and I need to try and get through this as quickly as possible. Kingston, under their Hyperx branding, has announced a whole kind of huge amount of new gaming stuff. There's like a HyperX gaming headset, which honestly just looks like a HyperX gaming headset, but their new RAM looks it looks pretty great. It's got that kind of Trident Z RGB effect of the kind of most of the top of the RAM module being RGB, but yeah, it just looks great. Just look at that, some pretty good looking RAM. And then Samsung didn't want to be left out and then just kind of announced a bunch of exciting looking stuff, one of which is a fridge that has Bixby in it. So I don't know, you can have a conversation with your fridge about how you feel about the groceries inside it. I mean, it's not like the fridge is gonna be particularly emotive on any topics, but that's a pointless conversation. They also announced a huge 8K TV, which apparently upscales content to 8K. This is to get around the fact that there just isn't any 8K content available anywhere. And apparently it's also got AI in it, which does a thing. They were quite vague on what the AI actually does, so I think they're planning on taking over the world with their TVs. Ooh, and I almost forgot pretty much like the most important news of the day, which was AMD kind of they went to town, to be honest. They really went for it. So first of all, they kind of released a whole bunch of new roadmaps. So the first one was showing when kind of like Zen Plus was going to come out, which is the next generation of Ryzen CPUs, which, you know, personally, just between you and me, is not going to be the hugest increase, but somebody pointed out to me that if it's more stable, it'll be great. Fingers crossed. They also announced that there's a new Threadripper coming out this year, which is also going to be better, and there's just kind of like a bunch of Ryzen CPUs coming out all over the place. They also showed some new kind of GPU roadmaps, which they keep branding VEGA everywhere except high-end gaming PCs apparently, but they're going to try and bring VEGA out in like laptops, and they're bringing out a die shrink of VEGA, which is going to be just for machine learning, as everything is from AMD at this point. But I think the most exciting thing that they announced was a price drop across the board for their Ryzen CPUs. So you're going to be able to get Ryzen CPUs for similar pricing than during the whole Black Friday special thing. So they're going to be really cheap, and I think they're a great buy at this point. Anyways, I think that's pretty much covers the CES coverage for this week. Not for this week, sorry, for this day. There's going to be more, a lot more, hopefully. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, do like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You know the business. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.